Hello, happy International Women's Day. I'd like to share something quickly with you in relation to inclusion, since that's the theme for this year. This really speaks to me because I am an immigrant, right? I'm not just a woman, I'm an immigrant. And sometimes women feel like the odds are set against them. They can't rise up in certain situations simply because they are women. They have family commitments. So for those who are parents, for those who are even married, they have commitments that prevents them from doing certain things in the organization. And that way, when they are assessing as to who is going to climb up the ladder, they look at this other person who seems not to have commitments, and then they let the person climb. However, you as a woman, because you have commitments and you are probably not giving as much as you should, then you do not rise. That's a conception that most people have, and whether that's true or false, it happens. It does happen in some organizations. What would I like to share? I've noticed a vicious circle. That circle is the fact that you notice that you are in a situation whereby you are not being included, either because you are a woman or because you are from a different race, and you then shrink back and you are less productive. Now you shrink back because you are at that point where you're like, what's the point? No matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to get this person's approval. And that way you prevent yourself from acquiring the necessary skills. You prevent yourself from actually building yourself to an extent whereby you are really too good to be ignored. Now, why shouldn't you do that, irrespective of where you are? If you are in an environment that sort of like secludes you or prevents you from rising because you are a woman, because you've got other commitments, or because of your race. Maybe your race, there's a certain way you speak and it's preventing you from climbing up. That's actually a bit easier, and I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying that there are certain things you can do regarding that. You have to actually skill up so that you are that person who is impossible. You are so good that it's impossible to ignore you. So you take feedback. So if you notice that you are not being included, there are a few things that you could do. You can actually call it out. Now, when I say call it out, you do not necessarily need to call it out in a rude way, because there are times that there are those people, and that's what I like to believe, that they are not aware that what they are doing is being discriminatory. They realize that they are looking at the bottom line, and the bottom line is what is important to them. And you don't want to be put in a position whereby you are consistently having to choose between your family and work. However, you need to understand that if you are in that environment, there are actually other environments that can help you thrive. But if you're in that environment, you should be able to call it out. Now, calling it out does not necessarily mean that it's going to change, because there are some environments that facilitate such behaviors. There are some environments or some workplaces that even if you did call out that someone is doing this, it wouldn't be taken lightly, right? And there are times that when you call out such things, it means that you're actually on your way out, because they are not ready to receive that kind of feedback. However, it's important that if you're in an organization that they could kick you out and you do not have a plan B, that you call it out in a respectful way. Hi, I've noticed that I didn't get this particular role. I'm not sure if this is the reason, but that's how it's coming off to me. Can you give me feedback that can enable me get a similar role later? So seeking that feedback would help you. Number two, there are times that when you seek such feedback, when you get feedback, you then sit back and let the feedback define you. So someone's giving you feedback that potentially the reason why you didn't get this is because maybe you are not strong enough, maybe you are not assertive enough, and then you take it back and say, look, it's my personality not to be assertive, so I guess I'm not just meant to climb up. And then you cower back into mediocrity. No, you decide that, how can I up this particular skill? How can I increase it? How can I learn to be assertive? Do I need to put myself in situations whereby I am assertive? And you skill up when it comes to that. Now, if you are someone with family commitments and you are in an organization that expects you to be there, even when you have to maybe pick up your kids, for instance, you have two options. You either look for an organization that is actually inclusive, and do get this, when I say an organization that is inclusive, it's not about the name tag, because there are times that you have name tags of employers of women or something, those people who get those awards, those things, I found out that they are a bit administrative, that it's actually good to dig further into the culture of the company that you want to go to, because you need an environment that helps you thrive as a woman with commitment, that can actually see you and see the skills that you bring to the table, irrespective of the fact that maybe you have to work part-time. And those organizations would help you rise higher. There are organizations like that, but that does not mean that we do not have those organizations that are at the other end of the stick that probably would put you down. Number 3, one key thing to always think about is, if you are, and I said there's a vicious circle, that vicious circle is you are in a place where you are being put down, and then you choose to cower back. You choose to accept it. Now, as a man thinks in his heart, so easy. So when you've taken that as your reality, even when you move to that organization that lets you thrive, you sort of like are looking at things from that lens. So when they are giving you feedback that should actually help you, you are thinking that it's as a result of their toxicity, and maybe they are not even toxic. They actually want to help you. So what are the key things for women of color and also a woman who probably has a family and is not getting the opportunities that they should? Number 1, fix your mindset. There are people like that, but you cannot control people's actions. But you can control, number 1, your reaction and the way you view the world. Get your affirmations up. Believe that good things will happen to you. Believe, if you want to, that you are going to climb up the ladder, irrespective of the culture around. And believe that if you are in an environment that constrains you, that you are either going to break those odds within that environment, or you are going to move to another environment where you will be celebrated. Number 2, skill up. So when you get feedback, even if it's given in a non-constructive way, choose to skill up. Choose to be that person who utilizes the feedback, but you do not take the feedback as your identity. Look, you might not be doing well because you have been put down so many times and it's become that circle. However, take what's good from a feedback and make sure you skill up, because you are doing it for you. You're actually not doing it for that person. That's quite important. So yes, I'm going to say women should be included. Women of color should be included. Do not look at people based on their race or based on the way they speak or based on the fact that they've got children. However, at the same time, we should also skill up so that we are too good to be ignored. Happy International Women's Day.